I think something we both kind of tuned in on over the last few months is just spending more time with people, meeting new people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, being open to conversations with new people. It's almost like we're retraining ourselves how to be human beings.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm searching for anything that kind of makes that, kind of places that at the top of the pyramid.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a combination for me of
I'm sick of feeling like I'm sick of getting agitated by just something that, like, you know, I should be trying to, you know, be open to people, to ideas, to experiences. And I'm just, you know, you tend to close yourself off a little bit to the world after, you know. I think just in 2025, it's really easy to do.
How does that manifest? Like, so, you know, like, for example, there's an opportunity to do something socially, and you just like whether you're conscious of that, what you just said or not, you tend to just.
Well, like, you know, I'm definitely more on the introverted side. At least, like, my outward
Sure.
personality is more of an introverted, like, and I'll get physically. Like, you know, I will physically get exhausted. I'm like, okay, I've had enough social
We talked
interaction.
about that, right?
And like, that doesn't necessarily happen with certain people.
Absolutely.
So like, you and I can hang out, and I'm probably going to leave more, like, charged or like emotionally. And I think that's kind of why we started this podcast. Is almost, this is like, you leave a good conversation. Like, we would have these conversations, and personally, I think we identified, like, oh man, like, you leave that feeling a bit,
that's right,
enthusiastic about
elevated,
elevated,
focused.
And so this is like a digital proxy to like humanity.
Yeah.
In a sense. And that's, we put it out there. It's like, we can access it whenever we want. Hopefully other people find that the same way. But yeah, I don't know how it manifests directly. I think, sometimes though, I will shy away from social situations.
Yeah.
And I don't know though. I love people. Like, I really like people. I like learning about people. I like learning about people's views and life experiences, and it's part of what draws me to film and photography and, you know, literature, and it's just foundational. But I think it's easy to kind of, you just get caught up in a way of being.
Well, and I'm very similar. There are social situations for me, certain ones where, I mean, I just am terrified to go into them. Sometimes because I have no one to go with, or I don't know anybody at the situation. When I was in Los Angeles, I went to an instant photography exhibit, a small little thing at this guy. He custom makes frames for Polaroid photographs. And so there was an exhibition there with the photographers showing their Polaroid photos. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go check this out.
Frames is in the frame of the actual...
Yeah, to actually frame the Polaroid. Like, he made frames that are, you know, that are specifically to frame the dimensions of a Polaroid, an instant photo, because it's an odd dimension.
Yeah.
And instant photography, you know, is, you know, certainly on the very popular right now, and a lot of people are doing it. So he saw, you know, a cool way to connect, an economic opportunity, all of that stuff. So I went to the exhibit, and I'm just like, I mean, I'm completely locked up. I am in a city that I'm not used to. There's, you know, people that are, you know, I know from social media, but I've never interacted with them.
Maybe a bit self-conscious or
self-conscious. I don't know. Like, I just was broken in that place. Like, my introversion kicked in. I didn't know how to, like, I just didn't know how to connect with anybody. And I think part of it was I didn't want to. I don't know. It was a very strange situation. This doesn't happen to me very often, but I mean, I'm looking at the photos. I think there was some ego thing going on where I'm like, well, why aren't these people talking to me?
Yeah.
Like, come talk to me. Like, what, all kinds of messed up stuff. So I just got out of there. I'm like, I just got to go. This isn't. And I'm like, I don't think me leaving is sort of like a cowardly move or a sort of a cop out.
Yeah.
I'm like, something, and maybe I just convinced myself of this. I'm like, something isn't right about me being here, and I just need to go. But then, like I went to a CD release party at Josh's shop, Modern Mayhem, and there's a bunch of people there I don't know. And while it was awkward, I felt like people, like we gravitated toward each other. Whereas at the LA thing, like that wasn't happening at all. But here I was like, struck up a conversation, met a lot of people. And then somebody that I knew from the coffee shop was there and brought a friend, and that was Alex. And now Alex is in the fold and all that stuff. So there's been some of those that I was terrified of, and they
Different
worked
Alex.
out. Yeah, different Alex. And they worked out really well. And then, at estate sales, it's like, I don't even think about it. You just like start chatting people up.
Is it just comfort level of environment, you think? Or
I think it's just like expectation. When I went to the gallery, like the photographers are all there. They're sort of expecting to meet strangers. Some of them had larger social media followings, so they probably know that people know who they are, but they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
It's just like the setup is complicated socially.
LA has an odd energy to it too, where you do have like, there's almost a layer that disconnects.
Yeah.
There's almost a piece of glass between most people. This is one person's perspective.
Sure. Yeah,
but every time I've been or spent time in LA, it's like I feel everybody's got their version of themselves that they want the world to see.
Right. Yeah.
And it's really hard to have it's like going to a work function.
Yeah.
Where nobody's there to hang out or exchange any kind of ideas or, thoughtfulness. They're just there to hopefully make a connection that will lead to more money. And
yeah.
Again, that's more of a blanket statement than I'd like it to be, but you just have this like inauthentic.
Well, probably just the general feeling, and I don't disagree, at least in this instance, that there's sort of a ultimate allegiance to self-interest. And when I go to these estate sales here in Omaha, there's like a undulating curiosity that exists between certain people. And there are some people there where there's a glass wall there. You like they're just there to get their stuff, they're whatever, and you don't feel them interested in what are you after, what do you like, whatever. But then there's some people where you can just kind of sense it, that they're curious what you came here for, what are you drawn to, what are the things that you're collecting. And you can sense a sort of moment of permission to just say something or break the ice or whatever. But then there's not any expectation that you're going to invest this large amount of time into a big in-depth conversation, or it's going to lead to, well, what's your number and how do I kind of whatever.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many people, the gentleman this morning, Eric, who was interested in records, standing in line, waiting to get into estate sales, where you just kind of can feel people are curious, you're curious, and you just start talking and you chat, and sometimes it doesn't amount to much, and other times it's, well, what's your number? Like, let's stay in touch. Like if you come across this stuff, text me or whatever. And it's not, let's go get coffee or whatever. But I've made the joke, and we can wrap this up, but I've made the joke, like for friends of mine that are single, I'm like, man, go to estate sales.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like actually be interested in the stuff that's there. Like I was telling my wife, Erin, I'm like, I think honestly, I probably could have landed 3 or 4 dates with people, if I was single, just because these conversations naturally happen. You're curious about the same things. You're interested. You're both there. So obviously you have something in common.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to say this like I'm picking up girls while I'm at these estate sales. But
no,
but,
it's creating it's
because I've made guy friends as well. It's in both ways.
it's like the perfect environment though to not be. There's just certain environments.
Low stakes. It's yeah.
There's certain environments where the expectation is unrealistic, or
Right.
or the, you're almost incentivized to be a version of yourself that's not
right. Wearing the metaphorical mask.
Yeah,
Wendy.
exactly. And yeah, you've got to identify environments that kind of take that away.
Yeah. And I really like that about the estate sales. I've even had people chat me up at thrift stores.
Yeah.
You can just feel people are like kind of yearning for a connection.
It had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer.